Hi everyone, welcome to the second session of our Lucas Studio training. As mentioned earlier, my name is Elizabeth and I'll be guiding you through today's session. By now, I believe that you've watched the first recording, and in that session, we introduced Lucas Studio, we reviewed what it entails, we covered how to log in and access the Lucas Studio platform. We also learned how to create a simple report in Lucas Studio, how to connect data source to a Lucas Studio report, and we also explored the Lucas Studio interface. And so in this session, I want us to go through or to learn how to customize a Lucas Studio dashboard by developing a very simple dashboard. So the main goal for today is to just create a very simple dashboard and majorly understand customization. So I'm gonna create, or let's look for the Lucas Studio. So once you open Lucas Studio, this is the interface that you will be able to see as mentioned earlier. And we want to create a simple report. So to create a simple report, we can either choose to create a blank report or use either of the templates available. If maybe you are creating something that a dashboard that it's kind of the same template that you're doing. For instance, maybe you're reviewing a Google Ads overview dashboard, maybe you can try to take that particular sample and review it. But in this case, we want to create new uh, a new dashboard, a very simple dashboard. So we can either choose a blank report or we go to the create button and then choose report. So let's just select the blank report. Takes a while to load. And that's it. It has loaded, and whenever you click create report, by automatic or by default, it always takes you to add data to report, because Lucas Studio understands that you need data to create your report or your dashboard. So there are various data connectors that you can use. We have the BigQuery, we have the SQL, we have the Excel sheets, but I want to use the Google Sheet. So let me just click on it. And Google Sheet by default refers to all the data sources or all the Google Sheets within your Google Drive. So this is the data that we are going to use, the bank churn analysis. And then we are going to, as you can see, our data has two different worksheets. We have the customer churn records and we have the sheet one. So, and if you see, if I hover on the name of the worksheet, I see an icon, and if I click on it, it takes me to my data source. So in this case, this is the data source, bank churn analysis. As you can see, we have two worksheets. We have the customer churn records and the sheet one, but we are interested in the customer churn records. So we're going to add that particular data to our report by clicking add. It also takes a while to load. That is it. And so you can see we are about to add data to this report. You can either choose to check that pop-up notification so that it doesn't show again whenever you add new data to a report, or you can always have that flexibility to confirm that you are adding the correct data source to your data. So let's just add it to our data, to our report, sorry. And you see, once we add the data to our reports, we see the responsive and freeform layout. As mentioned earlier, responsive automatically adjusts depending on the device that you are using. If you're using a tablet, you can see there is that adjustment. So it means that your report layout will be different. However, a freeform layout, it means whether you're using a tablet, a laptop, a phone, the layout will always be the same. So for now, let me just select the freeform layout. And by default, when you select either of the layouts, it goes ahead and creates a chart for you. You can see if I delete it, I'm going back to the responsive layout or freeform layout. So I need to select it so that it gives me the option to create a chart. So as you can see now, we have this. I just dragged this down because I don't need it now. And we are going to analyze the customer churn analysis data for this particular bank report. So we are going to first start with a title. So in this case, we need to use the text box. So you can see that icon. When you hover it, it shows text. So I'm going to click on it. The good thing with Looker Studio is just a simple drag and drop. So I'm going to give it a name, customer churn. Do I keep this analysis? And then I just noticed that we've noticed given our report a title. You can see it's still untitled. So I'm just going to copy the customer churn analysis and paste it there. You can see now when I click anywhere else, you can see now that's updated as well. So now we want to style this text box of ours right there. It doesn't look appealing. If I switch to the view mode, you can see it doesn't look appealing. So let's fix that. So first of all, you want to fix the font size because that's too small. So let's expand it a little bit. Drag it down because this is gonna be our main header. And then we want to bolden it, bolden, and centralize it. And now we want to add color to our report. So I'm gonna go with orange of late. I've been loving orange. And I really need a border. Let me just add it. A black one. I think let me give it a radius of 5 or 10. And that's it. So that's our header. We're done with the header and that looks good. So now we want to add various scorecards to our chart. So now we want to add various scorecards to our chart. By this time, we can now remove that particular table because we have at least something on our dashboard. So now we want to insert scorecard, and to do that we have two options of doing that. We can use the insert button and select scorecard, or we can go to the add chart option, and as you can see, this gives you a clearer visual of what you're going to add, and it also gives you the various options available. So in this case, let's select the scorecard. Let's have it there. And now we want our scorecard to represent the total number of customers that we had in that particular bank. So by default, whenever you add any data to Looker Studio, it gives a record count. So which this is not a correct representation. So I want us to change this to customer ID because we want to count the number of customers that we have, and I'm just going to change it to customer account distinct. Sorry. So as you can see, we have 10,000 customers, and now I want, and by default also, the scorecard, you can see right now it has a title by default, which is the metrics name, but we don't want it to be represented customer ID. We can change that to total customers. So as you can see, that looks better. But however, I don't want to have that as my title. I want to have the main title. So I'm gonna add the chart title. As you can see by default, since I updated the name of the customer ID, the metric from customer ID to total customers, by default it just picked that. And then I want to bolden it, and I think that's okay. And so now you might be wondering, why do we have two total customers? So remember, the first one is the metric name, and then now we added the title. And now we can go ahead and hide the metric name because we want to remain with the title. So I'm going to hide the field name. As you can see, let me expand this a little bit. So if you scroll down below the labels, we have the hide field name. So let me hide it. You can see it disappeared now. and then we want our field value to be centralized. And so and then let's make it more dark, because you can see there was a little change. And then we want to adjust the background. Let's give it a lighter shade. No, that's not light. That's better. And then we can give it a border color with some radius. Well, I think that's it for this particular scorecard. It looks good that way. So now we can duplicate, with each chart I intend to create 4 scorecards, so we can duplicate it 3 times. So you can do that by either copying, right clicking and then copy, or just using your keyboard shortcut Control V and then paste Control V as well, Control C and Control V. Or you can also use the paste option again. You right click it and paste. Still the same result. So the reason why I'm copy pasting is because I don't want to go over the whole process of editing and styling the scorecard again. I just want to make my work easy. So I believe those are the scorecards that I need. I needed 4 of them. So now we want to change these to we want to find how many customers. We have the total customers, so we want to find how many customers exited or churned from this particular report. So we can do this by choosing to add a filter. That's the simplest way, because from our main data we have the exited, the count of exited. So we can just go ahead and add a filter. So we go to the setup, and you can see here we have the filter option. So I'm going to add the filter. When you click on it, since we haven't created any filter yet, we're just going to create a filter, and then I'm going to give it a name, churn customers. I don't know why I keep missing with the churn. Okay, I think that's correct now. And then we are telling this, we are giving it a condition to include. In this case, we want to get the exited. So to include exited, where or when exited equals to, which is 0 means they are still with us, 1 means they exited. So in other times, 0 is yes, 0 is no, 1 is yes. So let me select the 1, and then you can save. And you can see we have a total of 2,038 customers who churned. So, and then we need to update the title to reflect correctly. So we're gonna update that to churn customers. I have the customer. Okay, that's it. You can see the spacing is not so well, but don't worry about that. We're going to style it later. So now here we want to represent the overall churn rate. So to get the overall churn rate, I added a calculated field, as you can see. So I can just give you an overview of how you can add it, because I don't want this video to be long. So to add a calculated field, you need to click here to the add field, and then you see we have the calculated field. So then you'll give it the field name and the formula. So let me just open what we have so that you can see churn rate. So as you can see, we have the churn rate percentage, that is the field name, and then we are telling it to count case when exited is equals to 1, then customer ID, and then it gets divided by the customer ID. So we are simply telling it to give us the rate of churned customers in this particular report. So let me just update that. By default, from this, I'm sure you can tell what should be the value, 10,000 divided by 20,038. So it should be 20.38%. So let's update our setup metric to be churned rate. So as you can see right now, we are getting 0.2. You might be wondering, why are we getting 0.2? This is because our our formula is not in percentage. If I click on the edit part, you can see the data type is number. So we need to update that data type to percent. But I don't want to update it from here. I want to update the whole report. And why is that? I want to update it from the whole report so that whenever I add any other chart that will use the churn rate, it will maintain the data type as percentage and not a number. Because if I update it on the main scorecard, it will, whenever I add churn rate anywhere else, it will appear as a number. But I don't want that. I want to make my life easy. I want to have the churn rate as a percentage. So we're going to scroll down. You can see here we have two metrics. So we are just going to update this number to a percent. And then we can double check the other to see whether they are correctly updated. Let's scroll up. You can see salary. I believe salary should be a currency, so we can just change that to currency. Let's just use the common currency. Even balance should be a currency because I believe that is the bank balance. And you see by default now, since we already have the USD dollar as one of our data type, by default we are also able to get it. So now we are not scrolling so down again. So and then we can click done. So as you can see now, our scorecard has already been updated to 20.38%. So that's an accurate representation. So now we want to find out what is the average tenure for our customers. So we can change the metric to tenure. As you can see, it's a sum. We don't want a sum. We want to see the average. What is the average tenure of our customers? How long are they banking with us? So that we see we can be able to analyze that. So average. And then as you can see, 5.01, we can't say 5.01 years. So we want it in as a whole number. So to update that, you see the aggregation part. So the display format, sorry, you just update that to number 0 so that it can have 0 decimal places. And then since we say it as tenure, that is not an accurate representation. So we want to update it to average tenure because that's the correct name. And if you've noticed, once I updated this, it immediately updated itself on the chart title. So now we want to style this, not to style them, but to space them out so we can group them and just drag them along. And that's it. So, and then I noticed that it doesn't look quite cool. I want to centralize the title. So as you can see, we can do it one by one, but I don't want to do that. And as you can see also, when you've grouped them, the styling doesn't appear because we are only having the group properties. So I'm going to ungroup them. And then you can see now they're still selected, but we have the style option. So I'm going to the chart title and then I'm going to centralize it. You can see that has been applied to the whole scorecard. So it also kind of makes your work easy. Well, and that's it. We've created our scorecard. You can see our report is taking shape. So let's now add something else to our chart, our report. Let's add maybe a bar chart. Can have it there. So as you can see by default, it's took the surname, geography, and customer ID, but we don't want to represent that. We want to view the churn rate by age groups. So I also created another calculated column for age group. If I open the formula, you can be able to see. I grouped the age group less than 30 to be 18 to 29, less than 40 to be 30 to 39, and anything else above 60, it's a 60 plus. So we want to represent the chart by age group. So dimension is gonna be the age group, and then we want to see the churn rate. So now you can see the largest churn group is from an age of a range of 50 to 59. So let's give it a title. By default again, you can see it already has a title because Looker Studio picks the dimension, uses the dimension and metrics that you have on your chart to give you a title. So if you don't want it that way, you can adjust it the way you want, but I believe I like it the way it is. And then we can change the color. Yeah, our main theme is today is orange and white, so I'm just gonna maintain the orange. Let me give it no, let me maintain the other shade. Okay, and then we want to show the data labels. The labels are not so clear because they are in white, so we can change that to the font color. We can change it to maybe a little bit clear. Oh, okay, give me a minute. Let's change it to something like, let's see, why is it not changing? Okay, let me change the background color instead then. Yeah, you can see now it changed and that looks better. But let's change the green to a different color. That's not so good. Let's just maintain black. That's better. Okay, and so you can see now we've updated our chart. We can add, if you want to do anything to the axis, you can as well change that. You can just play around with that. We also don't want this green grid line color, so let me just update it to white. I don't want it. And then we can also update the border color. Let's maintain our black. We can increase the weight and also the radius. That weight seems to be too much, so let's reduce it. I think that's better. Yeah, that's better. So as you can see now, we have the churn rate by age group, and then now we can add another chart. Let me just copy that same chart because I don't want to do the formatting once again. We can just add it there. And so I want to change this chart type. How do I do that? Maybe I didn't want a bar chart, I wanted a pie chart. So how do I do that? You can see here on the bar chart properties, we have chart types. And from this part, you can be able to change your chart to whatever type of chart you want. So you can see if I scroll down, for instance, let's say I want to have a pie chart. You can see by default, since I had the age group, it still gives me the age group by the churn rate, but I don't want to view the age group. I want my chart to present the gender distribution by the churn rate. So I'm gonna update the dimension to gender. So you can see the other formatting has been maintained. That is the title. You can see it has already been updated gender by churn rate. You can see the background line, what do you call, is also there. So I'm only going to change the color of the pie chart because I don't like that particular color. And you can see we can choose to either color by a single color. If I select that, you see that it maintains the theme of what we are currently using in our report. You can either choose to use a slice order. Slice order means that you can change the order of the slice. So for instance, if I change this to, let's revert it back to the age group. So you can see it follows this order sequence. So that's what it means by slice order. But dimension value, it will just give you any. And then single color, you can see it's giving different shades of orange. So I think I'm gonna maintain that and then just change this from age group to gender. I like it being gender. So you can see we have, why is it giving us 25%? Let me see. Let's go to the style and see what's happening. Slice label percentage. Okay, let's change that to maybe the value to see what happens. Let me change that to label female. Something doesn't make sense. Let me say none. Okay, I'll review that later. I don't know what's not making sense on that particular chart, but let me revert it back to, is it to value. So you can see it says 25%. Okay, we'll double check that those numbers. So let's add another chart. Let me copy that and paste it again. So this time I want us to review the, what do you call, the geographic chart analysis. So I want us to use a geomap to determine the churn rate by geographic region. So we are going to change the chart type to a map. So as you can see, we have a geo chart. So this is what we're going to select. And by default, you've seen that it changed the dimension to geo dimension. So this means that it automatically looks for whatever values that relate with that particular chart, and then it immediately gets added. So as you can see, that's why we have the geography and the churn rate. So we want now to, first of all, you can see this chart is so like, and it looks so, we're showing the whole world while our data mainly focused on, let's see, only three countries, that is France, Germany, and Spain, which are Europe countries. So we can choose to zoom our chart to a particular area. So you can see we have the zoom area here. So you can see it's missing currently. So we can just adjust that to Europe. You can see now at least you have a clearer view of the chart. So you can see if I hover around, I'm able to see the churn rate. So let's go to the style and change that. You can see GeoChart. So we're telling this chart that the maximum value we want it to be in, let's maintain the orange. So you can see the maximum value is in orange and the minimum value is in the lighter shade, and that's good. So you can see, do we really need to edit? I think that's all for this particular chart. It doesn't have much elements, so we can just minimize it a little bit as well. We also minimize this. And that's it. So now we can maybe add another chart or a table. Let's add a table. Actually, we've not yet added a table. So let's, sorry, not add data. Add a chart. We want a table, so we can have it there. So you can see by default, it gives us the gender and churn rate. So we want the age group as well. To view the age group, let me remove the female. This is just a replica of this particular chart, so of which it doesn't make sense. Why would we will have a replica? So maybe we can try something else. Maybe the average. Yeah, the card type. You can see we have the card type and the churn rates. So we can change this. Let's change this to a different type of chart. We can use the table to display other metrics. Let's use this particular chart. So you can see now I'll have to go through the process of adjusting the chart once again, styling it. So let me remove the breakdown because we don't want the breakdown. And then churn rate by, we can adjust this so that the names are visible. That's better. So now we can go ahead and style this particular chart. First of all, we don't want that color. And then we can show the data labels. You can have them have a background color so that they are visible. Okay, let's maintain it as black. That makes sense now. And then we can, let's see, we didn't add the title, so we need to add the title. We need to bolden it like the rest of the charts. So let's adjust this. Yeah, that's better now. Okay, so we can just adjust all of these charts so that they can now fit within the space. That's it. So we can now add the border line on this particular chart to make it similar to the rest. Border color, maintaining at black, and it we used to. Then we have the border radius as 10. That's it about that particular chart. So you can see we have churn rate by age group, churn rate by gender, churn rate by card type. If you hover around the geography, don't know if you can add the names. Let me just try to see if we can have the labels over there. Seems we can't. Yeah, we can't. I guess that's it about the geography charts. Yep. Okay, so now we can add our table as the last thing. So let's add the table down here. I mentioned we will be having a very simple dashboard. So this table can have maybe the, let me see, we can still have the geography, the churn rates. We can have the estimated salary just to see the average estimated salary of the clients who churned. You can just have the, okay, this table can have just simply the customer's demographic. So we can also include the gender. We can include the age group. We can, what else can we include here? Let me see. The card type, whether they are still active actually. Not the card type, active. Isn't whether they are still an active member. Okay. So as you can see now, our chart, the table looks too detailed, so we can remove some of the redundant values. For instance, the age group, we've already had a presentation of it. The gender, I don't think it's necessary. We can have the geography, determine whether they are an active member. For this one, you can choose to change this to using a calculated field to showcase 0 for no and 1 for yes. I didn't do that data cleaning, that's why it's appearing that way. Then you have the estimated salary and you have the churn rate. So let me just try to edit that. So as I mentioned, this is gonna be customer graphics. We need to bolden it. Let's try align it with the other table, so with the other chart. And that's it. So we can now continue formatting our table. We want the header. We say today we are maintaining the orange theme. So let's make it lighter. Okay, so we can play around with this, whether you want the row numbers visible or not. I think we can have them not visible for now. Whether you want them to auto hide or not, whether you want to wrap the text or not, horizontal scrolling or not. So you can see whenever you select the horizontal scrolling, by default it gets to align your whole table. So you can see right now it looks well aligned. However, we can try to reduce this so that the churn rate can be visible. Yeah, that's better. So let's also add what do we call it, a border color, just to maintain consistency, and also the radius as well. Okay, so that's it. And we are done creating our simple dashboard. So by now, I believe you guys should be able to create a simple dashboard in your using Looker Studio. So for instance, maybe you wanted to, someone might ask, how can I adjust the page number? For instance, you can see right now I cannot add another chart to this particular page because it seems full. But yes, guys, we can adjust the page size of our dashboard. So we just go to the page and then current page settings, and then from the style you can be able to adjust the width, let's say 1300, and the height as well, let's say 1200. So you can see you can be able to adjust the size of your dashboard. So let me revert back. Is it 900? And this was 1200. Yeah, and also if you want to add more pages, you can still just add a new page, or you can duplicate this particular page so that you can maybe edit. You want to maintain the same theme and just edit the charts. You can see right now we have page number 1 and we have page number 2. So you can always play around with it. And also someone may ask, how do I rename these particular pages, because it's currently 1 and 2. So you just go to the page and you see now we have other active buttons. So you can see here we can choose to add this page in view mode. Maybe you don't want people to view that particular page since you're still working on it. You can just hide it, or you can choose to manage to rename this. You can just go to the manage pages and you can see right now our page is untitled, so we can just rename it to churn analysis, and then you can choose to name the other page as well. Maybe here you can come and review customer demographics in details. And so when we go to the view mode, you can see now we have the 2 chart pages of our dashboard there. So today your assignments will be to create a simple dashboard using Looker Studio, I'm giving you an option to use any data source that you're familiar with. Create a simple dashboard using Looker Studio. I want you guys also to learn to do your homework, learn how to add navigation buttons to Looker Studio, because you can see we can just click and we go to the next page. But however, I want to see the navigation buttons on that particular dashboard, so that I just click on it and then it moves to our next page. So I'm giving you that an assignment, guys. I also want you to play around with variety of options when it comes to the charts. So depending on the data source that you will use, ensure that you create a very simple chart that is visible and well displayed. I guess that's it about our class today. See you on the next one.